changing reasons for this war. You've misled the public about the progress of the war. While the military has executed this war with tactical success, the strategy has been an astounding incompetence, doing immense economic damage to America.
Mr. Chairman,
and the
Mr.
world.
Chairman, with the personal attack on the Secretary, he should have an opportunity to respond.
He certainly
Thank
will
you.
when
No, at the time
When
you're
I'm
doing
finished.
it.
It's the gentleman's time. He can use it as he sees fit and add an extra 5 seconds to Mr. Garamendi's time.
Thank you. You and the President are ever-changing reasons for the war. You have misled the public about the progress of the war. While the military has executed this war with tactical success, the strategy has been an outstanding example of incompetence. This war of choice is a political and economic disaster at every level. Despite the President's promise to lower the cost of living, gas prices are up 40%, and inflation is soaring. So much for lowering the cost of living. The President has got himself and America stuck in the quagmire of another war in the Middle East. He's desperately trying to extricate himself from his own mistakes. It is in America's and indeed the world's interest that he succeed in that. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair, and I recognize the gentleman from Virginia, Mr.
From the congressman. I hope you appreciate how reckless it is. When I said reckless, feckless, and defeatist of congressional Democrats at the beginning, that came after watching you say the same thing on CNN this morning, a quagmire. My generation served in a quagmire in Iraq and Afghanistan, years and years of nebulous missions and utopian nation building that led us to nothing. What we have right now, the way you stain the troops when you tell them 2 months in, Congressman, you should know better. Shame on you. Calling this a quagmire 2 months in. The effort, what they've undertaken, what they've succeeded, the success on the battlefield that could create strategic opportunities, the courage of a president to confront a nuclear Iran, and you call it a quagmire, handing propaganda to our enemies. Shame on you for that statement. And statements like that are reckless to our troops. Don't say I support the troops on one hand and then a 2-month mission is a quagmire. That's a false equivalation. Who are you cheering for here? Who are you pulling for? Our troops are doing incredible work. They've done incredible things for the entirety of this mission and achieved incredible battlefield successes. And you sit there and go on TV for your clickbait about quagmires. It undermines the mission. Your hatred for President Trump blinds you to the truth of the success of this mission and the historic stakes that the President is addressing, which the American people support. Iran's been at war with us for 47 years. You want to talk about a forever war? For 2 months, this President has stared them down. He's going to get a better deal than anyone ever has and ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. I know the American people support that mission, despite your loose talk and words like quagmire.
You just heard a member of Congress call the Secretary of Defense a liar to his face under oath on camera. That's not spin. That's an accusation with a paper trail behind it. Here's the thing. What you're about to see next is Hegseth's actual answer. Not a rebuttal of the numbers. Not a defense of the casualty count or the cost. Just shame on you. Twice. And an accusation that Garamendi is handing propaganda to America's enemies for saying the word quagmire. That response is coming up. But first, we need you. Content like this doesn't get pushed by the algorithm. Uncomfortable clips of officials failing to answer basic questions get buried under safer, softer content every single day. The only way that changes is if enough people decide it should, and that starts with you hitting subscribe right now. Like this video if that first clip made you sit up. Share it with someone who still thinks this war is under control. Every share is someone else seeing a cabinet secretary get asked a direct question and respond with an insult instead of an answer. This channel exists to hold this kind of exchange up to the light and not let it get lost in a 6-hour hearing nobody watched live. That only works with your help. Subscribe, like, share. Then stay right here. Because Hegseth's response is worse than you think. Watch what just happened. Because it's the whole story in miniature. Garamendi laid out specifics. Gas prices up 40%, a war whose rationale keeps shifting, a strategy he called astounding incompetence. Hegseth's answer to all of it was, shame on you, and you're handing propaganda to our enemies. Not a single figure disputed. Not one casualty number corrected. Not $1 amount challenged. He answered an accusation about honesty with an accusation about loyalty. And those are not the same thing. That's what matters, and it's not new. Elsewhere in this same hearing, Hegseth dismissed the sharpest questioning in the room as coming from the reckless, feckless, and defeatist words of congressional Democrats and some Republicans. That's the same move twice in one afternoon. When the question is about the war's cost or its casualties, the answer is about the asker's character. House and the numbers he never touched are not small. This was the same hearing where the Pentagon, for the first time, publicly put a price tag on this war at $25 billion, delivered in the same breath as the defense of a $1.5 trillion defense budget request. Garamendi wasn't inventing a number out of thin air when he talked about strategic damage and economic fallout. The Pentagon's own controller was sitting in that same room confirming the scale of it. House. This also wasn't Garamendi's first attempt to get answers. Back in late March, he co-signed a letter with every House Armed Services Committee Democrat demanding this exact hearing happen, citing American service members killed and wounded, and warning that the administration would likely come back to Congress asking for a $200 billion supplemental on top of everything already spent. The accusation you heard in segment 1 didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of weeks of being stonewalled, then finally getting 5 minutes across the table from the man responsible. House. So when Hegseth's response is, shame on you, and propaganda to our enemies, ask the obvious question. Propaganda would mean the numbers are false. He never said they were false. He never said Garamendi got the cost wrong, or the casualty count wrong, or the gas price figure wrong. He said the comments were disloyal. That is not a defense. That is the Secretary of Defense choosing to attack the messenger because he has nothing to say about the message. A cabinet official was asked, point blank, to account for a war's cost and its human toll. He responded by questioning a congressman's patriotism instead of producing a single fact. That's not strength. That's what it looks like when someone has no answer and knows it.